Welcome to this week's PV Agri Podcast, as we dive into the heart of sustainable farming, community empowerment, and agricultural innovation, hosted by the ever-inspiring Bishop Paul Verryn. John Dearden went first. While not much news on his end, they've had a busy week revitalizing a fish farming project during the quieter winter months. They're aiming to have it fully operational by year's end. John also recounted an exciting interaction with a former student from back in 2021, Tami from Orange Farm. Has acquired 2 hectares of land near the Swaziland border in Mpumalanga, close to KZN. The spot is ideal, a north-facing slope in a valley with full sun and a stream running through it. John advised Tami to expand to the available 60 hectares, drawing parallels to the productive valleys in the Western Cape's export industry. He mused aloud about how many untapped opportunities like this exist across the country. Questions followed, with Mr. Mbatha inquiring about potential uses for such land, including goat farming ideas from his group in Mpumalanga and KZN. John explained that Tami's initial focus is on market gardening, similar to what they've promoted in Orange Farm since 2021. For smaller plots up to 10 hectares, recommendations were to implement market gardening for its quick cash flow and low-risk mistakes, while for larger areas, commercial agriculture with support from experts like the Department of Agriculture would be better. Next up was Mr. Mbatha himself, reporting from a windy spot near a field. His team is preparing to transplant seeds provided by John into their plot, with potting underway today and tomorrow. The seedlings are thriving and ready for the field, marking steady progress on their farming efforts. Nancy Mcube chimed in with a question for the group: would a donor directory be useful for fundraising? She described it as a resource listing private sector funding plans for 2026, like annual spends on social development, available for free or possibly a subscription. Scott responded enthusiastically, suggesting it needs creativity to stand out, perhaps through matching funds where donors co-invest rather than fully sponsor. He offered to discuss offline, drawing from his experience with business networks. Manana Matama sought clarification, and Nancy elaborated. It would detail who's funding what. Coca-Cola on water purification or Anglo on farming in the Northwest, including timelines and partner preferences, tapping into compliance-driven funds tied to BEE scorecards. Manana then gave her report, emphasizing the group's role in empowering each other with resources. Their survey of farmers is complete, exceeding the target with 624 responses, aiming for 500. They're now compiling the report, minimizing the team for this phase. Last week, they hosted a Women's Month event with Minister Nyoso from Land and Rural Development, drawing 60 women and 12 men to discuss land, woman, faith, and soil. It was an intense, celebratory gathering where women shared their deep connections to the soil and how farming sustains their families. Attendees received goodie packs with spinach seeds and manuals, leaving Manana excited but exhausted. Bishop Verryn noted David's update on analyzing the survey data for a database. Scott asked about the survey content, and Manana explained it covers challenges like land access, government assistance, farming duration, and future aspirations. The data will fuel campaigns in Sedibeng and South Johannesburg, focusing on issues like unused land, short leases, and fencing. They'll collaborate with lawyers for human rights to advocate for better access and ownership. Scott, a former marketing research analyst, offered help with deeper insights beyond surface-level data. Danisa Kasha reported next, starting with moringa. She's training farmers on growing it, with an offtake opportunity expanding from Botswana to South Africa, focusing on Limpopo and Mpumalanga clusters for export. In the Eastern Cape, they're starting a potato project in near Port St. John's, sending tubers and organic rabbit manure today. Planting begins Monday after field prep with 10 trained farmers. On schools, they've faced issues at Crown Mines, needing fencing and water access, despite approvals, but Turffontein is cooperative. Patience is key, she advised. Manana asked if moringa training extends to Gauteng, and Danisa confirmed it's available anywhere with land and clusters, though training has a cost and leads to membership benefits like export connections. Mr. Mbatha urged a follow-up, and Danisa shared her contacts. Bonging Kosi reported from his project, volunteer mothers dedicate 2 days a week, one to the main garden, one to a women's Menyeno initiative. Spinach will be ready in 2 to 3 weeks, and festive season potatoes are thriving, awaiting spring rains. He sought confirmation on newsletter submissions, which John and Scott encouraged via email, WhatsApp, or transcripts for quality content. Scott's update was brief: They've lined up 10 to 15 people for projects, including 4 pilots and educational pieces. Everything's poised for takeoff. Manana mentioned an upcoming event, partnering with a local library for tree planting days with 60 high schoolers on September 5th and 45 primary kids on September 12th. She sought contacts for fruit and evergreen tree donations. Danisa offered leads via a mutual contact. Scott noted Saibanjai's absence due to daily work at the Joburg Food Market, where she's advancing moringa, food distribution, and gardens, progress in multiple areas. The meeting wrapped with Bishop Verryn scheduling the next for August 29th at 11 a.m., wishing everyone a wonderful, warm weekend. That's a wrap on this week's PV Agri meeting, full of collaboration, challenges, and hope for South Africa's agricultural future. If you're inspired, join the conversation in our community chats or submit your stories for the newsletter. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe for more episodes on Spotify and YouTube. Until next time, keep planting those seeds of change.